All right, welcome to my stream. So this will be a practice with me session, which means I am going to show you how I practice and actually go through and try and refine some things. It's also going to be a little bit of a clinic. So my goal with this is to kind of demonstrate to you how I have developed limb independence and made it so that I can keep an ostinato pattern, a repetitive pattern in one hand while playing something completely different in the other. And I'll be doing that with up to 4 different limbs. So I'm going to show you the process for doing this. I'm also going to be releasing a video that walks through this in much more detail down the road on my YouTube channel. However, for right now, I'm just going to show you the raw footage of what I do to practice. So up until now, I've been doing a lot of stuff on the rudimental side of things. So I've been demonstrating these different resources that I use to play along. But at the very bottom, there's this drum kit independence. When you click on it, it takes you to a different page that has some different resources specific for learning how to develop your limb independence. So my goal for today is to show you basically a walkthrough of what I do to develop that. So let me start off by saying, first we're going to start with like a rock pattern. So it's just going to be a basic, and then we'll do whatever we do with our foot. So this is the pattern that's going to be making up stuff, while this is going to stay the constant. It's interesting that it's not triggering all the snare hits. I got loose lugs, that's why. Good times, I'll fix that later. Okay, so first thing that I do, like if you're brand new to developing limb independence, you've never done this before, start off with just getting one hand going. Ideally have a metronome playing, and then just do something else with your other hand, the hand that you want to be able to have the independence, or even your foot. Like wiggle it around, move it around, whatever you want to do. So we got this going. Another thing you can also do is just like even try speaking. So like right now what I'm doing, if you haven't been drumming for a little bit, then this is going to be really hard. Even just adding in something like this, it's going to be extremely difficult to be speaking while you're playing without making it sound very robotic, or I'm going to say everything with the drumming right now, etc. So you're trying to train your brain to not have to think about, well, what is going on right here with this hand? This is just going to go on to autopilot or muscle memory, if you want to call it that. And you're just not going to think about it anymore. So after I've kind of gone through this and spent some time just getting more comfortable doing this thing, what I want to do is get this foot more comfortable with playing alongside of the hands. So these independence exercises are excellent for doing that. So I'm going to go to this 8th note permutation one. And if you go into the description, you're actually able to pick a different BPM. So I want to, I don't know, let's try 140. Let's see how that sounds. Make it bigger for you. Now you won't actually hear the audio that I'm hearing. However, there is a click track that's going right now. Yeah, my foot is not going to be able to play at that speed right now. I have not played drum set in like a month. My main passion is rudimental drumming, but drum set is just fun to bang around on every now and then. I'm going to go slower. Let's try 100. Okay. And this goes really slow, so like down to 40, I think, on this one. So you start with a time, and then you just play. So you're filling in with your foot. So I'm playing all the rhythms with the foot. And then 2s. Whoops. Whoops. Now 3s. And then 4s here. Okay. and then it repeats it going up one click a little bit faster. Okay, so that was not my best, but that's okay. I'm just trying to demonstrate the process, and then I'll show you some fancier things that you can do. There's other variations of this, so if I click on this one, it shows me all of them. So you can go into 16th note permutations, you can do triplet permutations, all sorts of things to work on like jazz, hip hop, all sorts of cool stuff. Like there's a swung 16th notes. So this gets a little bit more complicated with the rhythms. So it's pretty neat. Let me go to the next page. Goes all the way up to eighths. So if you can do that with your foot at that speed, good on you. I cannot. Good for double bass, by the way, if you're into that. Okay. So after you have spent some time working on the independence exercises, and so you can comfortably play and whatever variation within the permutation exercises, then you actually go down a little bit further to the chart reading. So I'm going to do same tempo, so I'm going to do 100, and I'm going to read through 10 different charts. So since I want to do 100, I'm going to select this one, and it's going to be charts 1 through 5, and then I'm going to skip to 6 through 10 after I complete these. So my goal is just to read all of the rhythms that I see on the page that are going to appear, but it starts with a full line of just count off. So just keep in time right here. And again, in the actual recording, you'll be able to hear the actual video, you'll be able to hear some stuff. Now you can improvise here if you want to. Now here's the rhythms. I'm rushing slightly. That's not good. I like to mess with this one here. This one's weird because it like lines up and then it doesn't. All right, so that's the first chart. Then you get to a measure of time again. Every single new page starts with a measure of time, so it can like help with page turns. You don't have to worry about like, oh, what am I gonna play next? You can improvise here. And then just go right back into playing the rhythms here. Because again, we're focused on improvisation. With the limbs, that's what you want to be able to get to. Whoops. By the way, I failed to mention that the resources are at the top of the screen. So the jaredoleary.com, if you click on the drum kit independence and charts, it'll take you to the resources that I'm at right now. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, I will include a link to this in the description below. All right, chart 3. So while doing this, it should make it so that you can learn new patterns and be like, oh, that one sounds really cool. So not only does it help with limb independence, but it also makes it so that you can, sorry, I'm messing myself up by speaking, 5-way independence or 3-way. I can't count right now. It's 4-way. Because I got 2 hands, 1 foot, and the mouth. If I had the hi-hat going like this, then it'd be 5-way independence. But I'm not doing that right now. Yeah, so doing this will teach you some new patterns that you can be like, oh, that was a cool one. I'm going to incorporate that into whatever song I'm working on. And I'm working on writing some more of these charts. So this upcoming Friday, November 5th, I think, is going to be a video that talks about what relaxed drumming sounds like. And then I'm going to release a bunch more new charts. So there's 10. I'm going to release 10 more over the next month. Whoops. Sorry, hit my microphone. Can't speak. This is a lot harder than it looks to be able to speak and make a sound fluid while trying to focus on not messing up the rhythms like I did. As I dropped my stick. Good thing it was during the check pattern, where I should be improvising. By the way, if you are watching this live and you want to ask a question, go for it. I've got the chat on another monitor. If you're watching this after the fact recording, whoops, feel free to post the comments in the YouTube comment section, and I will respond to it on another time. Maybe another live stream, or I'll create a video that answers your question. All right, so this was cool. I just did charts 1 through 5. Now I'm actually going to do charts 6 through 10. And these were actually designed specifically for these straight rhythmic patterns, so not a swung pattern. So these are a little more groovier. Trying to find a good mic placement so I don't hit it again. First time with this setup, so still experimenting. All right, here's the patterns. Whoops. Another way you can do this. So all those short notes are on the snare. And all the long notes are on the bass drum, like those. There's a short one. Here's a long, short, long, short, long, long, short, short, long, short, snare, bass. I'm going to go ahead and play the rest of these with this short long approach, so you can hear what that sounds like. long, 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 long. I don't know if you can hear it, because it doesn't look like the EAD, which is the drum trigger, oops, is actually doing the dynamic contrast. But it's another way that you can practice these. Once you are more comfortable. This one, chart 8, is really weird. Here we go. Helps if I don't mess it up. And if you do mess it up, it's alright. You're just practicing. I just happen to be doing it publicly. So, happens to everyone. It's weird, right? I keep getting like this double with my foot. So I'm trying to stop doing that. Like that. I don't know if you can hear it. On your end? Whoops. Alright, so this next one, chart 10, I actually really like this one. Gotta change it so I don't keep hitting that microphone. I like this one fast. Alright, so that was the first 10. And again, I'm going to work on some more. Start writing some of that later today. And we're going to go back here. And I'm actually going to share this in the chat on Twitch. because I forgot to do that. So my bad. That's where the resources are. So that started with just like the straight up standard rock beat, doing this, and then we had the bass drum just kind of filling in whatever the melody was that you saw on the screen. But then on the second set, so the 6 through 10, then I was showing you how you could do like the short notes on the snare drum and then the longer notes on the bass drum. So that's a fun way that you can practice this. Now I want to show you, so that was 3-way independence, and I want to show you 4-way independence. And we're going to switch over to Swung charts, and I will do 1 through 5. Okay, so here's what the ostinato pattern is, the pattern that's just going to repeat. It's going to be your standard, like jazz. And we're going to do what we were just doing with the short long. So we're going to play short notes on the snare drum, and then long notes. Etc. Okay? So that's how we are going to play through this. And is this at... Nope, it's not. It should be at 1080. I want it to look nice. Yeah. This is why I shouldn't control things with my left hand. Okay. Charts 1 through 5. And again, in the actual video, you'll hear a play-along track. So it's just keeping time, just like I'm doing right now. Now we're going to do some short-long. That's why I was doing that pattern earlier, the short long. I like the way it sounds. Again, you can improvise. On that first measure or line. So right here, you can make up whatever you want. And then it counts you off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some pattern, I can't speak. Some fun patterns in there. Not some patterns. Fun patterns. Ah, I missed the bass drum. All right, chart 5. This is the last one for this video. See if you can name this tune. Anyone? All right, so obviously, like, working through these charts is great if you're in a jazz band, but like I was trying to demonstrate earlier, it's just great for developing independence. It's not as boring as, like, sitting there with a metronome and just like, all right, I'm going to do this one measure for, like, 5 minutes straight. That's boring. This is getting you to not memorize the pattern, but memorize the ostinato while your limb is just basically improvising or reading through some music. And again, the cool thing is, like, you can go down to the timestamps in here, and you can speed this up. So, like, if that was too slow at 160, cool, then go fast. I can't play today. It's been far too long since I played some drum kit, and far too long since I played anything. It's been like a week. Okay, so that is 4-way independence right there, and technically 5 when I was speaking, which is not easy to do, which is why it's messing me up. Okay, so now I want to show you a different pattern. So we can do some Latin stuff as well, and you can, rather than just like keeping it straight, sorry, it's caught on my pant leg, keeping this straight, you could switch it to other instruments. So I'll show you one in a little bit. That's a little bit more complicated, but you could change the pattern. So like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So like here's a Baião pattern. So you're doing this on the hi-hat, or on the ride. Can't speak. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully the mics are lined up, otherwise it'll sound like I'm counting way off time. Okay, so this one is a straight pattern. So I'm going to go back to here, and I actually don't know what speed I want to play this one at. Let's go faster. I'm probably going to mess this up. That's okay. I'm just practicing. Oh, there's a mistake there. I'm going to have to go back and fix that. Write myself a note. Yeah, so this is supposed to say 190. Oops. But it said 200. I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to play everything on snare. For this first one, at least. Pretty sloppy. Honestly, I could probably slow it down. You could also do short long with your hand. So now I'm going to do tom and snare. I'm messing up. The tom sounds weird on the floor tom, on the E8010. Like sometimes it's like really quiet and then all of a sudden it just like gets like really loud. And it messes me up. I need to mess with the adjustments on it. So if I were going slower on this, you could do short notes on here and long notes on here, which is I'm just going to go ahead and stop because I keep messing myself up while talking. So it makes it a lot harder. So if I were going slower, but it makes it more musical. Etc. So reading through it, short notes, long notes. I haven't done this one in a very long time, so I stink at it right now. I need to practice more. So that is how you can work on other patterns by changing up what you're doing with the ride, with your feet, so it doesn't have to be the same thing every single time. You don't have to like that's why I like the Baião. It's very groovy between the two different feet. And then you could go straight or you could break it up, whatever you want to do with that. Okay, so I want to show you one more. And for this one, I'm going to go slower. Okay, so this pattern, it's going to show you more hand motions that you can do. So I was doing everything kind of staying on the same spot until I royally was messing up the split between short and long. But another thing you can do is actually make it so your hands travel. So what I'm going to do is play 16th notes. So here's the beat. And then, again, here's the beat. So what my right hand is doing is just straight eighth notes, just normal. But I'm going hi-hat, ride, snare, back to ride. So you can do a lot of really cool patterns with that, and it sounds all fancy and whatnot when you start improvising with the foot and then improvising with the hand. But to practice to get up to that, you can just keep it like straight 16th notes and then just etc. Which is what I'm going to attempt to do at 100. And we'll see how it goes. So we start with our getting this dialed in, a whole line of this. And then here we go. Not triggering the snare. Gotta be that loose lug. If it's not vibrating correctly, you won't hear it. Give me a moment. Is this one right here? See how I can pull it off? Look in that camera. Sorry, intermission. Okay, that one's okay. That one's okay. Okay. That's why you should always keep a drum key on you. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Maybe it's not the lug. That is weird. So is this. This is not easy, by the way. That's why you should start with the other exercise that I demonstrated at the beginning. I'm gonna mess myself up talking like that. So you see how I'm keeping the same pattern going with the right hand and just improvising? That's the goal while you're doing these. And you can mess around with that on the first line. Of every single one of these patterns. Oops. Left out the bass drum. I wasn't even talking. Add an extra one. Just make it whatever you want there. Why is my snare not triggering? What is going on? Like, it sounds fine when I hit the rim. Yeah, I'm going to have to mess around with the EAD10, which is... Oh, you can't see it. It's this thing right here. That thing. That. Right there. So it's a drum module. And you can find a link to it under the gear I use on my website. All right, let me go ahead and stop this. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But I think that should be a good cue for me to call it here. So hopefully this kind of explanation of how to develop limb independence is useful for you. Again, I'm going to be releasing a video that's explicitly walks through step-by-step how to do this, and it'll be much more refined than this 40 minutes of me rambling. But to recap everything, in case you are still with me, is start with just a pattern. Any pattern, just keep your hands moving, just make it an ostinato, and then start messing around with adding in one more limb, whether it's just talking like I am right now, or like moving your hand around, like drawing something, writing stuff down, etc., until that gets comfortable. And then go back to the links. You're not going to work? Come on, mouse. Go back to this page, which I'll include a link to in the chat. And then I'll also include a link in the description if you are watching this after the fact. So it's the jaredoleary.com/kit. So it's the resources right here. And so when you go to this, after you're comfortable getting the first part down, you then want to practice these independence exercises. So just going through all the permutations, doing 8th notes, 16th notes, whatever it is that you're working on with that limb, that is going to be the one that you improvise with. And then start going through the chart reading. Once you have the chart reading down and that is comfortable, like more comfortable than what I was doing, then start to make it even more complicated by like changing it so that, all right, short notes are on here, long notes are on here, adding in more limbs basically for your independence, etc. And then after you've done that, then you can just make up whatever you want. You will basically be able to improvise with that limb while keeping the other ostinato patterns. But then you got to change things up. So like I was doing with like instead of just 16th notes, all right, now my right hand is going to be moving across like this. So creating that like V shape or triangle shape, etc. while doing this. And then, okay, if that's not complicated enough, then like do paradiddles or something. That wasn't a paradiddle. There we go. Or you could do like a different pattern. So like a paradiddle and then left, right, right, left. Etc. So many different things that you can do. Experiment with this. And hopefully these charts are helpful for you. And then hopefully all of the stuff under the chop and technique are also useful for you because there are tons of resources, including a lesson, the first lesson that I'll actually release on November 5th. And it is less than 3 minutes, and it'll teach you what relaxed drumming sounds like. So check that out. Well, anyways, I've rambled a lot, 45 minutes. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope these resources are useful for you, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. I'm going to actually go meditate, and then I'm going to practice some Fortnite in a little bit. So if you want to catch me on that stream, feel free to ask some questions. Happy to chat about drumming, happy to chat about gaming, or the stuff I create for Boot Up, the computer science stuff on my website, whatever you want. Or just life. I'm down. So anyways, I'll see you all in a little bit after I meditate.